I'm going to wait for the bride. Do a little dance. I feel like I need a song about love now, which I totally didn't prepare because I didn't make sure that she wasn't at the candy buffet, which looks wonderful.
She's always going for candy.
That's why she's after you, Trevor. In any case, we are going to wait for the bride to come back. But when she does, I would like to welcome to the podium her father, Richard Harrison, to say a few words.
Yes.
Cyril.
It's on. What's that? Bella. Bella. Come here, please. You gotta sit down for a minute. You have speeches. You can dance in a bit. Go sit with Grandma. Come sit with Grandma.
So everyone, thanks for the opportunity to say a few words. Christine has her little box of candy. I think I'm allowed to start. On behalf of Maureen and I, we'd very like to thank all of you for coming today to the wedding, which was a tremendous ceremony, and tonight to the reception. And as the parents of the bride, we of course have very strong opinions of who was good enough to marry our daughter. And as we used to call her, she used to be our Princess Patricia. As you know, that's her middle name. And she always thought of herself as a princess. So, and still does. Right, Trevor?
Oh yeah.
And so we were pretty particular about who she would marry. And then along came Trevor. And, you know, we had to make some judgment calls as to whether he'd be good enough. And Maureen had a list of, attributes that he had to have, or he was going to be struck off the list. He had to have long eyelashes. He had to be tall. And he had to have blonde hair, or at least enough of it left to produce blonde-haired children. So far, so good. And we were pleased to see that things moved along very well. And I was pleased that Trevor, being an old-fashioned sort of guy, actually asked for my permission to marry my daughter. Of course, he caught me at a weak moment. We were cycling up a hill in no pay, and I was out of breath and lack of oxygen to the brain. And that's when he asked that question, and I said yes, obviously.
You said about time.
I did say that. But don't steal the punchline. So the about time, we then said, okay, when is he going to ask Christine? When is he going to propose? And we began to wonder if he was going to be like Matthew McConaughey in that movie. Now, wait a second. I'm not talking about Magic Mike, because I don't want you to get the wrong impression of Trevor. I know Christine went to see that movie, I think.
That's later.
Where he's a male stripper. So, no, that's not the movie I'm talking about when I'm talking about Trevor. I'm talking about the one, Failure to Launch, where we were worried that he wasn't going to eventually pop the question. So then last year, we took a trip to Ireland, and Christine and Trevor were going to come along, and they decided they would go to Paris first. Romantic Paris. The site of their Norman forefathers on the Barry side. But no, when they joined us in Dublin, he hadn't popped the question. So we said, okay, what else is coming up? So as we drove through Ireland, we were heading to the south of Ireland, and we stopped off at the Irish Stud. And no, I'm not referring to Trevor again. This is actually a horse farm, which of course had a Japanese garden, and all horse farms have Japanese gardens. And in the gardens was the engagement bridge. And Christine, being very subtle, made sure the two of them got on the middle of the bridge, and I took their picture on the engagement bridge. And what did we get out of that? A picture. No proposal. So we tried to get more clever than that, and a few days later, Lonnie Stone, you didn't do it there either. We decided to take him to the ancestral home of the Barrys of Cork County, to Barry's Court. And they were so glad to have a Barry there, they even let him sit at the head of the table where the previous Earl of Barrymore sat in this old castle. And we thought, how appropriate. He's been saving it up to go to the Barry ancestral home and pop the question. But no. He didn't do it there. And he didn't do it on Christine's birthday. So we're getting really worried. But I'm very pleased to say that he found his own romantic way to hide the ring in some dirt somewhere and have Christine dig it up. Not Paris, not the Barry's Court in Ireland, but somewhere out in the dirt somewhere. I think she had to dig it up herself. But that was a good thing, because he did it his way, and she said yes. And we're very pleased, Trevor, to welcome you to our family, and to have you marry our daughter and take care of her for all those years to come. So I'd like to propose a toast to Christine and Trevor.
Cheers. I'd just like to say thank you.
Turn it on.
Turn it on, yes, that's it. I'd like to say thanks to the people that decorated this beautiful room. I'm Trevor's father, and that piece of dirt that Trevor took Christine to was a nice little lake called Glen, British Columbia. Trevor had given me a quick call one day, or a text, I'm not sure which. Dad, I have this great idea. I'm going to do this geocache thing. I'm going to take Christine out in the middle of nowhere. We're going to pretend we're going to a wedding in the Okanagan. We're going to stop in for a quick little visit. And I want to borrow your ATV, and I want to take her to the top of a mountain. And you got to show me where. So that's not that difficult a thing to do, because we have a little place in paradise. So I took Trevor up on a ride in the pretense that we were showing him this new ATV. And off we went. And we found a tree, about 200 years old, a heritage tree, in the middle of nowhere, with a couple of woodpecker holes about this deep in the back. So in goes the geocache. I come back, and off Trevor and Christine go. I think you could have taken Christine to a garbage dump with grizzly bears in it, and she would have said yes. So Christine, traditionally, at this point, I would welcome you to our family, but you've been a member of our family in good standing for quite some time. So what I'm going to do is welcome you to the Barry clan, because apparently you know more about it than I do, because you've been all the way back to Europe and checked that out. I have one little story about Christine and Trevor. I'll keep this short. On the first Christmas that we met Christine, I think we were going out for about 6 months. Christine's gift to Trevor was a homemade calendar for the following year. And on that calendar were all the important dates up to that point and all the important dates for the next 12 months. It was at that very moment that I knew that I would be standing here at this very moment. I want to congratulate you. I wish you health, happiness, and lots of grandbabies.
I'd like to now invite up Bonnie Franklin to speak as well.
A minute.
Nice segue with the dirt. I like that. Gave me a perfect idea.
Hi everyone, I'm Trevor's mom. Pleasure to be here and thank you all for being here. So nice to see so many people that have traveled so far and made such an effort to celebrate Trevor and Christine's special day. Anyway, my speech is actually like 5 pages and I haven't memorized it, so I'm going to try to just skim through some of these things, but there's some things that I just really want to highlight, so bear with me. There's one particular individual not here to celebrate with the newlyweds today. I know how much this beautiful occasion would have meant to her. Sorry, Trev. I know that she would have added a charm, a radiance, and a grace to this joyous celebration. I know that she would have been excited for both of you as you fulfill your dream of marriage and look towards a bright and happy future together. But I did bring along a little piece of Tasha, kind of adding to the something borrowed wedding tradition. Tasha left us with big shoes to fill. Today, as I try to fill her shoes, yes, these ones, and dance in celebration for her. Hopefully I won't fall off them, but Tasha wore these heels for Trevor's UBC graduation only a month before she left us. And I remember how much that day meant to her and him. Just a heads up though, if anyone wants to polka or jive with me, be careful. It could be dangerous. A year ago, when I was first asked to give a speech, I thought, yes, it's payback time. But then as time went along, I thought it may be more appropriate to say something more gracious and customary, like, I haven't lost a son, I've gained a daughter. But honestly, Trev, after seeing your stag pictures, I was beginning to question whether I, in fact, had lost a son. You do, however, look really good in a little red dress. Love the princess crown, darling. And the little Miss Kitty purse was absolutely smashing. Oh, for many years I told people that I didn't believe my son would ever marry before the age of 35. Throughout Trevor's life, he has wanted to do it all, leaving nothing out for fear he would miss out, including sleep. And for many years, that seemed to be working for him. That is, until Christine came along. Although in the last 3 years they have accomplished so much, like Richard was saying, traveling and all kinds of other things. What I'm also seeing is a more serious Trev, looking down the road towards starting a family of his own, and what that requires and what that means from him. So it seems I was wrong about 35, and you know what? I'm really happy to say that I'm okay with that. When Trev was about 7 years old, I think he was in grade 2, he walked home from school one day carrying his Ninja Turtle, or maybe it was his Super Mario lunch bucket, and out of the blue, came up to me and announced that he could never marry a dumb girl. And for those of us that know Trevor, that probably doesn't come as a big surprise. But what was surprising is that it was coming from a 7-year-old. He went on to say that she would need to be intelligent, like his mom. No, he didn't really say that. Wish he would have, but yeah. What he failed to mention, though, was that she would also need to be tall, slim, beautiful, fun-loving, a talented cook and homemaker, and a perfect complement to him. The first time I visited Christine's home, I was so impressed. Not only was she welcoming and a gracious hostess, but she had an amazing flair for entertaining. Everything about the way the table was set, the meals that were prepared, the chocolates on the pillows at bedtime, reminded me of something I'd seen in Better Homes and Gardens. I knew then that Trevor had met a keeper. Following that visit, Christine became affectionately known to me as Martha, because Martha Stewart has nothing on Christine. Christine, who you are, far exceeds any attributes or expectations that I may have wanted or wished for in a bride for my son. I can tell that your parents raised you well, and I want to personally thank them for that. You guys, Maureen and Richard, you did a great job. They obviously inspired in you beliefs and values that I value and that I believe are important and to be admired. Christine, you are well-grounded. You have your priorities in order. You can be the perfect lady when required to do so. Yet, you are also willing to step outside that comfort zone, be adventurous, like the dirt thing, and be willing to accompany Trev on some of his wilder and less hygienic escapades. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. Just before you and Trevor became engaged, I asked Trev a few tough mom questions. This discussion came about when he announced to me his intention to propose 1 year ago. He told me that he loved you and was ready for the commitment. When I asked him what he loved about you, the answer that best stands out for me is that he knew that you would make a wonderful mom. Okay, down to the last page here. And you know what, when he said that, I admit that that comment kind of took me back, because I was kind of expecting something different. Since then, though, I've mulled that comment over many times. And the more I do, the more I realize what a huge compliment that was to you, Christine. And firsthand, I have witnessed your mothering and nurturing talents with your dog, Mia. You are patient, loving, fun, and protective. I've also witnessed your patience with Trevor, particularly with some of his less flattering behaviors. I mean, I could talk about a trunk lid on one occasion, or a bottle cork at a picnic that we went to, where, you know, Christine could have easily just lost it. And she didn't, you know. Trevor apologized immediately, which was good. And here they are, so she exercised good patience on both of those occasions. Anyway, Christine, you will be a wonderful mom. And because I know how important family is to Trevor, I also know that he has chosen the perfect woman to uphold this value with him. Christine, welcome to our family. You are a beautiful addition in so many ways, and I feel blessed to have you in my life, and now as my daughter-in-law. You really do have two moms. I wish you and Trev an abundance of happiness as you begin and build your future together. I pray that you will always stay focused on what is important for both of you, individually and as a couple. And if when grandbabies come along, that you will always be united on what is best for them. I love you both. You make a beautiful couple. You look beautiful here tonight, and really do complement each other. I pray that God blesses you both as you grow together in your happily ever after. To Cyril and Christine.